first to welcome you to this great webinar organized by the African Association for Physical Sciences with the support, you know that with the support of the AAPS, International Union for Physical Sciences. AAPS has launched a call for grant for young investigator researcher. So we think that it's very, very good to organize this webinar to teach for the people how to write a winning proposal. So before I give the floor to Mr. President, Professor Yasser Al-Wazir, let me introduce to you or present to you the agenda of this afternoon. So we will have a welcome words from the AAPS President, Professor Yasser Al-Wazir, and after the word of the President, we will give the floor to the Secretary General, Professor Abdulatif, who will present the application process and pass on review the eligibility criteria and the key deadlines for this call. And after this, we will give the floor to our invited speaker, Professor Osama Abulseod. And by this time, I will have the opportunity to introduce our invited speaker. And after this, we will give opportunity for the participant to ask questions, and they will have the answer from the speaker or from the AAPS Council. And we will conclude this webinar by the words from the President. So without another minute, I will give the floor to our President, Professor Yasser Al-Wazir. He's AAPS President. So, Professor Wazir, you have the floor. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof. Kadiri, for this introduction and for organizing this webinar, and also for organizing the next coming webinar on the 6th of September. I'd like to express my pleasure in such a remarkable turnover at today's webinar. The strong attendance not only demonstrates significant interest in the research grant offered by the IOPS and managed by the AAPS, but also reflects the warm regard for our distinguished speaker, Professor Osama Abulseod. My role in this webinar, according to the plan of my colleague, Professor Kadiri, is to provide a brief overview of the grant and its alignment with the mission of the AAPS. Before we proceed, I would like to take this opportunity and invite my fellow members of the AAPS Council to introduce themselves. This occasion presents an excellent opportunity to recognize their dedication in this vibrant gathering of emerging scientists. You have been introduced to Professor Kadiri already. Let me just Prof. Abdulatif, can you just say hi to the audience?
Hello, good afternoon. So I'm Abdulatif Alagbonsi from the University of Rwanda, and I'm the Secretary General of the African Association of Physiological Sciences, AAPS. Thank you.
Thank you. Prof. Fatou, are you there? Okay. We have Prof. Fatou Bintoussar from Senegal. She is the Vice President. And we also have Professor Trevor Nyakudia from South Africa. He is the Treasurer. And we have Dr. Libugang from South Africa, the Deputy Treasurer. Are you with us, Dr. Libugang? Okay, let us move to Professor Lamis Khaddam. Are you with us, Prof. Lamis? Okay, let me
Yes,
just...
I'm here.
Yes, can you just say hi to the audience, please?
Okay, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. My pleasure to meet you all and be honored to be in this webinar and wish all our young career best of luck in getting the grants and develop physiology in Africa. I am Lamis Khaddam at Nilan University. I am council member of AAPS.
Thank you. Prof. Ammar Abdelaziz Musa from Sudan also, are you there? Okay, Prof. Abdulrazak Akinola Alada, Prof. Alada.
Yes, good afternoon. Good afternoon to everyone. My name is Abdulrazak Akinola Alada from University of Ibadan. I am presently the president of the Physiological Society of Nigeria, and I sit on council of AAPS. Thank you.
Thank you. We have with us also Prof. Simiat Ilyas, but she's not, she has work to do. She's from Nigeria. And we have Professor Magda Ibrahim from Egypt. Prof. Magda, are you with us?
Good afternoon. I am Professor
Yes.
Magda Ibrahim Ashri, head of the Physiology Department at Suez Canal University and a member of the AAPS committee. I hope you enjoy our webinar and benefit from it.
Thank you. Dr. Tesfaye Tolesa from Eritrea. Okay, Ms. Twilika from Namibia. Okay, we have also Prof. Frank Mujimini.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, my name is Tesfaye. I am from not Eritrea actually. I'm not from Ethiopia, but I'm now speaking from St. Joseph University in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. I'm associate professor of physiology and the AAPS council member. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I was keen that you meet all the AAPS council because, you know, we work as a group. So let me say just a very brief word about how this grant was initiated. This initiative originated from the IAAPS, the International Union of Physiological Sciences. The IAAPS is the principal supporter of the AAPS. Historically, they have supported our scientific meetings, but this is the first time they support a research grant of this nature, dedicated just to Africa and managed entirely by the AAPS. The impetus of this initiative followed the last AAPS Congress in Ismailia earlier this year, where IAAPS members of the executive committee attended over 60 research presentations from 12 African nations. Their participation underscored the promise and potential of the young African researchers, highlighting the need for increased grant opportunities despite the constraints of available funding. In response, the IAAPS partnered with us to launch and manage this scheme. Actually, this scheme aligns very well with our mission. This is in perfect alignment to our mission in the AAPS in terms of the advancement and professional development of physiologists across Africa, with a particular emphasis on early career researchers. We regard this grant as a foundation and good start for future similar initiatives from other potential donors. We will continue to build strategic partnerships and share funding opportunities broadly with the aim of making the grant application process more approachable and empowering for all other members. Let me reiterate that the APS is dedicated to supporting you at every step of your research journey. So it's not just the beginning. I mean, whoever who are the winners of this funding scheme, we will support them throughout the funding scheme. Those who did not have the chance to win this time, we will support them to get another chance to get another grant in every possible way. Through the collaboration and sharing of expertise, we have the potential to drive scientific advancement with impacts reaching far beyond our community. Thank you for joining us today. I wish you a productive, insightful, and inspiring session. Prof. Akadiri, back to you.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. President. So I have to introduce myself also because I'm Akadiri Yusufu from Benin, Benin Republic, in West Africa. We are neighbor to Nigeria, and I'm professor of immunology and cell biology at the University of Abomey-Calavi in my country, Benin. So thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you very much. Yes. And now we have to move on. And now I want to invite Professor Abdulateef Alagbosi. He is the Secretary General of AAPS, African Association for Physical Sciences. He has the role to give every detail on this application, on this call, how the participant can apply to this call, and what are the eligibility criteria, and he will give also the key deadlines, so the data we have to know to apply for this application for this call. So, Professor Abdulateef, you have the floor. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Professor Akadiri, for inviting me. And I appreciate Mr. President for giving us a very good background on these grants. I think it will make my work very easy. So on this grant, the major issues that I need to just point out to the applicants, they are associated with the partnership with AAPS, the need for capacity building in Africa, eligibility criteria, the ceiling for the grants, the application process, and the timelines. And I'll mention some of the annexes that the applicant are expected to attach to their application. As my president has said, AAPS is the founder of this project with a sum of 30,000 USD. And as a council, we have decided that we are using the entire sum we are receiving from AAPS to award this grant. So it means that AAPS is not taking a kobo from this money. It is the entire 30,000 we receive from AAPS that we are using to award these grants. And in our initiative, we are planning to award up to 6 projects with a maximum of 5,000 USD. It does not mean that any proposal that you write must be 5,000. You can write a proposal of 3,000, 2,000, 4,000, 4,005, but the maximum should be 5,000. And when we are awarding, it does not mean that we must award 5,000 to you. We will award to you based on the merit of your projects. So, but the minimum projects we are going to award, or our target is 6 projects of 5,000 each. Eventually, we may award 7 projects. It will get project of less than 5,000 budgets. And as you know, AAPS as an organization is the umbrella body of all physiological societies in Africa. So it means that we have many societies under AAPS. For instance, we have my society, the East African Society of Physiological Sciences in East Africa. We have the Physiological Society of Nigeria. We have the SA2P, the Society for Physiology and Pathophysiology in the West African region for the French-speaking countries. We have the PSSA, the Physiological Society of Southern Africa. We have the one in the other part of Africa. So, summary, AAPS is an umbrella body. So meaning that we expect you as an applicant to belong to any of these regional societies under the umbrella of AAPS. AAPS is just overseeing the activities of physiologists in Africa. But I'll come back to the membership criteria. So, and this kind of a robust membership of AAPS is the reason why IUPS find us worthy to collaborate with us. It means that it is not easy for IUPS to be dealing with individual societies, but it is easy for IUPS to deal with AAPS as an umbrella body in Africa. So we have a lot of more benefit to bring to Africans. Now, this project, as my president has said, is our effort to build capacity of young physiologists. That's why we are targeting this project or this grant to be dedicated to early career physiologists. So it aligns with our mandate to ensure that we are not only building education, but we are also building research capacity. So to be eligible for this grant, you must be a citizen of any African country. It means that if you are not an African by nationality, we are not expecting you to apply. And even if you apply, we will not award the grant to you because we want to build the capacity of ourselves, of our own people. That is an African. So you must be an African. So you can be a citizen of any of the 54 African countries. There is no restriction to which country you must come from, as long as it is within African map. The second thing is that you must be affiliated to any of the higher learning institutions or a research institute. We know that there are people who are physiologists, but they are not in a university. You may be in a research institute, as long as you are affiliated to any of the institutions within Africa. And you must have accumulated about 2 years of experience within the period of working. And the 2 years, we expect that you must have been 2 years at the time you are applying. So it means that if you are applying by September 2025, you must have started working since September 2023. That gives you 2 years of experience in either a university or a research institute in Africa. So it means that for you that you are an African, but you are working outside of Africa, maybe you are working in US or UK, you are not eligible to apply as long as you have not been working in African institution. Number 3, you must be an earlier career physiologist with less than 7 years of PhD. So it means that we don't want people whose PhD have been more than 7 years. Someone like me now, I am not eligible to apply based on this because my PhD was 2016. 2016 up to this time, that is 9 years. That means I am not eligible. I am not part of early career physiologists. Number 4, you must not be below the rank of SL. I am not also eligible here because I am not below SL. So you can be a senior lecturer or below. If you are in a professorial cadre, either as an associate professor or as a full professor, you are not eligible to apply. That's why we have reserved it for early career only. Senior lecturer and below. And again, you must be a registered member of any of the physiological societies in Africa. I have mentioned some of the examples of the physiological society. You must be a registered member and you must be in good standing. We don't want people that will apply and that will not have anything they have been doing with the physiological societies before. If you apply, we will confirm from the physiological societies in your region or country whether you are a financial member. And this is part of our commitment to ensure that you don't just be a physiologist without having any affiliation with the local physiological societies. We have people in Africa who are members of FISOC, who are members of American Physiological Society. That is good, but don't just be global without being local. Don't be affiliated to international societies and disregard your own national or regional societies. So you must be a registered member of a society affiliated to AAPS in Africa. And we are giving priority to proposals that are multi-country, meaning that it doesn't mean that if your proposal tackles problem in your country alone, it doesn't mean you cannot apply. But we give priority to proposals that are multi-country in collaboration, meaning that if you are from Nigeria, collaborate with people from Kenya, from Uganda, from Benin Republic. Let your proposal have a look of more than one country, because AAPS being an umbrella body, we are trying to promote collaboration among our country members. It's part of our key mandates. So these are things that applicants should put at the back of their mind when they are putting up their application. I have talked about the ceiling of 5,000 per project for 6 projects. And for the application process, in our call, we have indicated the email to which you will send your application. And for the timelines, because I'm trying to beat time, for the timeline, we expect that you should submit your application latest by 30th of September of this year, which is the deadline. Any application received after 30th of September will not be treated. On our call, I have just noted that we have 2 days of application. You can disregard the 15th. We have 15th of September, 30th of September. The 15th was an error. So the timeline, the deadline for application is 30th of September. That is the one you should give recognition to. We'll accept application up to 30th of September. And by December, by God's grace, if we are still alive, we will announce winners by December 2025. And those who win the grants, by January, we are going to sign a contract with the universities, and the project can commence in January 2025. I think these are the timelines. And in terms of what we expect you to attach, when you prepare your proposal in our call, you will see that on the website of AAPS, the website is aapsnet.org. So if you visit the website, you will notice that we have indicated the templates that you have to use for the application. So on the templates, apart from the template you should submit for the proposal, we expect you to submit a motivation letter that's not more than 1 page. And that letter should be addressed to the president of AAPS. Then the second thing is that you should have a letter from your letter of current employment or promotion. That one is the proof of your academic rank. Maybe the letter you have been employed with currently, or the letter of your last promotion, for us to cross-check or fact-check your academic rank. Then means of identification, whether your national identity card or whether your international passport, that will be a proof of your nationality to be sure whether you are from which country. Then you will need your CV to be attached to your application, your recent CV, then your PhD certificate as a proof that you are a PhD holder. But in our call, we are going to allow people who are yet to have PhD also to apply, provided their proposal is convincing enough. So it means that even though we want PhD holders that are not more than 7 years of PhD, for those who don't have PhD yet, you can apply, but you have to ensure that your proposal is highly competing. And that will be on a case-by-case basis. Then we need list of your research profile, like your Google Scholar link or your ResearchGate or your ORCID, your ORCID, to be able to verify your publication record. So that means in your application, you need to provide link of your research profile. Then we need an endorsement letter from your institution. Maybe letter from your dean or maybe from your director of research in your institution, depending on the way your institution is structured. So we just need an endorsement letter from your institution attesting that they are aware of your application and they'll be ready to support you when you win this grant. We want a situation whereby anyone we are awarding the grant to, the institution will provide administrative support to the project without any hindrance and logistic support. And lastly, we need you to submit 2 recommendation letters from people in professorial cadre. That means that you can get letters from an associate professor or reader, as the case may be in your university, or from a full professor. So these 2 endorsement letters, we want the referees to write about you, that to write about the scientific merit of your application and your competence as an applicant to pursue the grants. So all these are what we expect you to submit when you are submitting your application. So I will stop here and hand over to Professor Kadiri to continue the next step. Thank you for listening. Maybe if there are questions after the webinar about the application process, I can respond more. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Professor Abdulateef Alagbonsi, for these very, very more detailed criteria. So be African, be early career researcher, working in Africa, registered as member in a society located in Africa. Collaboration will be an asset, and he gives also so many deadlines. So all these criteria will be posted on the AAPS website, and also we will share a file with all these criteria in our forum, inshallah. So thank you very much, Professor Abdulatif Alagosi. Thank you very much. So
sorry,
now
they are already on the AAPS website. They can check. They are already on our website.
Okay, it is already on the website, so you can check after, and we will maybe it's very important for our French speaker people. They want that all this so for maybe some words can be translated in French for us after on the website, and they can do the effort to check and to get these criteria. So thank you very much. So now let me introduce to you our invited speaker, Professor Osama Abulseod. Professor, you are welcome. Welcome, Professor.
Yes, thank you. It's good to be
Thank
here.
you very much. Can you on your video, please, Professor?
Yes, my camera is on. I don't know. Are you able to see it?
Yes. Yeah, I see you now. Thank you very much,
Okay.
Professor. Thank you. It is a great honor for us to welcome you in this webinar. So let me introduce to you Professor Osama Abulseod. Professor Osama Abulseod is a medical doctor, is professor of psychiatry and neuroscience from Mayo Clinic College and Medicine and Science in Arizona, in the United States of America. He's also consultant and interim chair of the Department of Psychiatry and Psychology. So, Professor Abulseod, it's very great honor for us to welcome you. And I just want to remind that now the format will be a question and answer. This session will be question and answer format. So, but before we start with questions from participants, I will let Professor Abulseod to make an introduction and say what as he wants to introduce this webinar. So thank you very much. Yes, Professor.
Thank you.
Welcome to you.
Thank you. You hear me well, or I adjust my volume a little bit?
No, it's okay. It's okay for me.
Okay. So it's a pleasure to be here with all of you today, and really excited about the enthusiasm and the energy from our origin countries. I am from Egypt, and it's considered African, despite here in America they don't consider us Africans, but we are deeply Africans, and we love our roots. We love our origins. So I choose to talk to you about the grant writing process because I have so many grants that never got funded. So I know all the mistakes that you should not do. And I have some grants, of course, that got funded. So I will also tell you what are the things that seem to be appealing. So that's the first thing. The second is I did not like to put this as a rigid PowerPoint presentation. I want this to be more alive, where I will be talking to you about something and then you can ask a question, we can discuss it. This will take a little longer time than probably what's planned, but it will give you a sense of what actually do I need to do to put together a proposal that seems to appeal to the reviewers so they can offer you the grant. So the very first thing that will come to your mind is how can I write a grant? And before we go to how can I write a grant, then the question is, what is the research question that I would like to answer? So all of us are working in different areas. Like I work in neuroscience, and in neuroscience I work in post-COVID syndrome, and I work in the mechanisms of neuropsychiatric diseases, and I work in the manifestations of dementia, etc. And in every one of those aspects, I get to ask questions. And the questions are sometimes difficult to answer, and sometimes they are focused enough to answer. So one of the questions that will come to my mind saying, why do people get post-COVID? That's a big question, but that's a very difficult question to answer. So then I need to go to a smaller question. So the very first point that I would like to say, we need to have a research question. And then we need to have that question is answerable. We can answer it. Means it is not a massive question, it's not a huge question, it's not vague, it's not large, it's just a focused question. And we will talk about how can we come up with a question down the line. But then when I have a question, then I need to come up with a story that is convincing to the person who will read that proposal to say, yes, you can answer the question. But please understand that some of the questions that are relevant to me may not be relevant to others. Like I may be interested in something that when it goes to the reviewers will just say, nah, that does not really seem anything exciting. We're not looking at this at all. So in addition to coming up with a question and making the question that is easy to answer or possible to answer, then it also has to be fitting or what we call significant. Significant means it carries a weight, it carries a meaning for the general public, or it carries a meaning for the research community, or it carries a meaning for the public health, etc., etc. So the question that has significance will weigh more than the question that appeals to me, but it may not appeal to many other researchers. And then once I have that question, and then I will start weaving a story to say why this question is relevant. And did other people try to answer that question before me? What did they find? And what my research is going to add to their findings. So that gets us to what we call the background section. In the background, I am saying, here is the science, here what other people have done, and why I think that I can add and contribute something that they did not do. So they have done X, Y, and Z, but I feel like this piece is missing and this piece is important, so I need to add it. So remember what we mentioned at the beginning. We said we need to come up with a question. And we need to come up with a question that is focused, that is possible to be answered. And then it has to appeal to somebody that read it that is not familiar with your work. So it has to be significant. And then we have to say, where is the science in this area and where my question is going to fit and contribute to that science. That's what we're going to be calling a background. Now you got the reviewer to read this and get excited. This person understands and knows what he's talking about, and he knows the science, he knows the literature. He's able to tell us where the science stopped and how can we push it forward, and that makes sense. Now it comes the difficult part, which is how am I going to answer that question, or what we call the approach. The approach. So I want to answer this question by doing a study, by doing an experiment, whether that experiment is preclinical in a mouse model or this experiment is clinical in humans. That is my approach. I will design a study, and this study will answer that question. And that is the difficult part because most people or most reviewers do not agree in the same approach that you take. So you say, I'm going to develop an animal model to study this. Then they say, why wouldn't you do it in human? I will do a study in human and I will use this imaging approach. Then it's like, why not the other imaging approach? So the approach that we're going to do to answer the question has to be justified. What do you mean by justified? Means if I want to say I'm going to do an animal model, then I will say, why do I have to do an animal model? Because I cannot study this in human, because my methods are invasive and the model is well established, etc. If I want to do this in a certain brain imaging like structural MRI, then I will say I have to do structural MRI because it will answer the question that I propose this way and I cannot do it another way. So the approach and the method for the study that we will propose again has to be justified. I want to do this because of that. And then finally, I will come and say, what do I expect to see? So now I did the study and I assume in my mind that my study worked. Then what do you want to see? Or what do you expect to see? What I expect to see, that is my hypothesis. So I expect that my patients with dementia, when I give them this medicine, their dementia will be reduced. I expect that my model for post-COVID, when I study it, I will find that there is damage in these brain regions. I expect that when I look at HIV patients, that I will find this immune marker and I can reverse it by this. So that expectation, or that's what I wish to see, is my hypothesis. And then again, I will have to explain why do I expect that. So that's going to be my rationale. I expect to see that because this previous study found this, and that previous study found that, and this process physiologically makes sense because of this. So that is the rationale. So now let's go back and remember what we said from the very beginning. We said we need a question. And the question has to be focused and possible to answer. And then we need to say why this question is important, which is the significance part. And then we need to say, where is the science stopping in this particular area that I want to study? That is what we call the background. This studied that, and that studied this, and this found this, and this found that. And then where my question and study fits into this big literature search that I did. And then we go to how are we going to do this actual study, or what we call the approach. And in our approach, we're going to say, I am going to design a study in this way. The design has to be justified. I design it this way because I will be able to study this invasively, so I have to use it in an animal model, or I will need to look at immune markers, or I will need to look at the prevalence of something. So I justify my approach. And then I will have to say, what do I expect to see, which is my hypothesis. And then finally I say, why do I expect that, which is the rationale for it. That's in a nutshell, how am I going to put this grant together? There are several questions that will come. Do I need preliminary data? Do I need to show I have done this and found that, and now I need to make it bigger and I need to expand in it? For small grants, we usually don't use preliminary data. But if there is preliminary data, it will be an advantage. Preliminary data means a small number or something that is in the way. Like I have done a little bit of work in this area, found that, and now I need to expand in it. Do I need that? For big grants, definitely you need it. For small grants, you may not need it, but if you have it, it probably will strengthen the application. And then, how can I put together a small section saying what could go wrong? What could go wrong? Like I was proposing that I will recruit 100 patients that they have malaria. And I will be examining their blood markers. But then, is it possible that I could not recruit those patients? What will happen if I can't recruit them? So that's called potential problems. Or I was proposing that I will run this test. What happened if this test did not bring actually the way that I wanted? What is the potential problem that I could see here? And why I say potential problem? Because then I have to come up with potential answer. So if I could not recruit my patients, then I will collaborate with this place who has patients. Or if I could not find the results with that test, then I will use this test. So I will put a potential problem, then I will come up and say, if this potential problem happened, then what is my possible answer for that potential problem? There are studies that are straightforward. I'm going to be doing this through this method. I will expect to find this, and that's my rationale, and that's it. And there are studies that will be a little bit more involving. What do you mean by that? Like, instead of having one aim, like aim number one, I will study the rate of cognitive impairment in HIV patients in this area. That's a very straightforward aim, and that's very easy to understand, and I will be having no problem justifying what am I doing. But then I want also to study and say, and I will treat the patients that they will move or they have cognitive impairment with this treatment. That's another aim. The problem with now that if you studied the prevalence and you found very small number with cognitive impairment, then the second aim of treatment will not happen. Because aim number two is hanging on aim number one. Right? Like, assume you say, I will look for the prevalence of cognitive impairment, and I expect that to be 10%. But then you actually ended up having the prevalence is 5%. So the number that's available for you to go to aim 2 is now very small. So having a dependent aim on the other, like aim 2 depends on aim 1, that may not be the case if aim 1 does not work. So for simple studies that will have only one aim and will have only one design and have only one study, then that's not a problem. For studies that we will do two things, like number one, I will measure the immune markers, and then number two, I will be assaying these immune markers in X, Y, and Z. If I don't find the immune markers, I cannot assay them in whatever I propose. So hanging one aim on the other may not be the right way to write a 2-aim grant. If it's a 1-aim grant, then absolutely fine. If it's a 2-aim grant, we don't hang aims on each other. The last thing I will say before I can open for the questions is the budget. How am I going to be putting my budget? The budget is mostly we localize it for what we will be spending for the study itself. So I'm going to be spending money into the brain imaging, and I'm going to be spending money into collecting the data from the mice, and then I will put it either in details, like I will be purchasing this in that much, paying this for that, or put it in a bulk, like for those patients, I will spend that much money. The details usually are more welcomed than just the bulk to just justify what you're going to do. Some grants allow that you pay for your own time to do the study. So you say, my salary equals this, I will take part of this to cover my salary. Some grants do not allow that. So it will depend on the grant. But the details for what we will be spending for the study itself sometimes is welcomed, that they understand that you know where you're going to purchase your stuff that you're going to use, how you're going to be spending the money that you will be getting. I will stop here and I will welcome any questions from all of you.
Much, Professor Osama, for this very wonderful and very good detail on how to write a winning grant. So maybe we can welcome questions from the participants first. Is anybody want to ask question?
I can see here some hands. So
Yes.
Dr. Hamza Ahmad,
Yes.
please go ahead.
My hand is up.
Assalamu alaikum, Osama.
Yes, we have Hamza, then Charity, then the third person. We have actually 4 hands. So let us, I think, start with Hamza, then Charity, and move on.
Okay. I have 2 good questions about the webinar. The first one is, when writing a neuroscience research proposal, how can one balance novelty, which have a high risk ideas, with feasibility, realistic design about the research? And the second one, how can a young researcher align a proposal with cutting-edge priorities in a neuroscience to maximize the acceptance and finding chances? And thank you, Dr. Sam.
Of course, beautiful questions. So research is like anything in life that you just build it and you put little increments, right? Like little small over little small thing over little small thing. So despite that we want to walk over the moon, but we have first to start walking down the street, right? So we start our research by the very easy, low-hanging fruit. And then we go from there to the next step. And we build a lot of collaboration. A lot of collaboration. Anybody say good morning, we ask him, would you like to collaborate? Why is that? Because collaboration means that you will benefit from somebody else's mind, he will benefit from you, and you can add more to the knowledge. Research is extremely costly and extremely expensive, and institutional support is a must, right? Equipments are very expensive, all that stuff, but the ideas and the small increments do count. Even if you look at it like, oh, that's not what I want, but just walking down the road at the beginning with the small things will lead to the bigger things, right? So I wouldn't discourage a small grant and a small idea and a very simple kind of approach, because it will grow and build into the bigger and bigger things. Did that answer your question, or?
The last one, how should highlight interdisciplinary approach like AI, neuroimagining, neurobiology, and this?
Difficult question, because AI now is invading everything, and it is not really something that I encourage you to use to write a grant. Please don't use that. AI hallucinates sometimes, make up references, so don't use that. And we definitely can have a specific kind of a webinar that we can talk about the details of the double-edged sword in the world we live in now with the AI, and how it helps and how it hurts at the same time. So let's leave that question for a separate kind of a discussion. Okay, thank you, Hamza. And I think we can go to Charity, right?
Thank you very much, Professor, and thank you for giving us this opportunity to listen to this interesting webinar. I just wanted to find out, is it possible to go into a study with a preconceived or predetermined answer?
Thank you.
In this, in relation to what you earlier mentioned, that when you are coming up with a question, you may want to see certain results. So my question is, what happens if what you thought would happen doesn't happen? The results you were expecting are different from what you find. Then my second question is on the budget. Looking at the grants and some of the studies that we are to embark on, you would find that maybe the allocated money is just for your reagents. So how can you go about writing a convincing budget to the reviewers to, I don't know how to put it. How can I go about maybe putting up a budget that will be convincing to the would-be reviewers. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So the first question about what if your results came against what you thought the results would be, right? And that's actually what research is. If we know the answer, we will not do research, right? So the approach that we do and others is either unbiased approach. Unbiased means I will run this study and I will see what it comes with. Like I will look at the prevalence of this disease. I don't care if that prevalence is 1% or 2 or 5 or 10. Whatever results will come. I will look at the pathology of post-COVID. I wouldn't care if that pathology is in the mitochondria or this is in the lysosomes. I wouldn't care. So that's unbiased approach. Or I can actually a hypothesis-driven approach. I will try this medication and I hypothesize that it will work better than placebo. So now, if it did not work better than placebo, then what am I going to do? Or I will hypothesize that the error that I see here in the myelination is due to oligodendrocyte problem, but then when I actually do the study, oligodendrocytes look normal. Now, what am I going to do? So that's common and very common in research that we don't end up getting the answer that we want. What are we going to do for that? It's difficult to report because majority of the journals do not take negative studies, right? So that will be difficult. And it creates a state of bias because I already paid the money. I need to have the publication. What am I going to do? And this is my thesis for my PhD. I need to have the results. Now it becomes a challenge. And we encourage that everybody does research, that you do both kinds of research. You do the unbiased approach, so you for sure will have results. And you do the hypothesis-driven approach, so you carry the risk that the results may not come what you want, and as such, you're not under severe pressure to publish something that's negative or try to publish it. Of course, we don't talk about people that they make up data and all that stuff. That's criminal, and we don't do that. But I'm talking about the pressure that you're going to be trying to do something that is not, that's not possible. So to understand that it is true, we get results that are negative, and that does happen. The second part about the budget, you're absolutely right. Everything is very, very expensive. Reagents are very expensive. Kits are expensive. The time that we are going to put is expensive. And it's not easy for us to carry the research within the constraints of the budget that we have. So what do? We do the possible. We approach things the way that we can. Again, if you remember, we said we try to collaborate with people. So like that, they can carry some of the work that we are not having enough budget for it. But again, it's a very difficult situation. And researchers, they do much more difficult work than clinicians, because not only that you are going into a risky, uncharted territory that you don't know what you're going to get, but also you have to carve your own time and you have to sometimes spend your own money to do the research. So how can you put this in the budget? We do it the way that it will appeal, that we will make it fit. But in reality, sometimes we end up spending more than what we actually proposed. Dr. Yasser, who is going to be next for our questions?
Thank you. Yes, Aliyu Isa.
Yes, sir.
Good day to you all, distinguished speakers. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to ask the question. So my question is that regarding what one of the speakers had made mention about those that are eligible to write the proposals. He said those that had PhD, or even if you do not have that PhD, you're supposed to have a very competent or convinced proposal for you to be considered. So, sir, what about people like me that are still a final year undergraduate student? are we also eligible to write the proposal or not? Thank you, sir.
Professor Abdulatif can answer this question, I think. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. For that question, other criteria will not make you to be eligible because you don't have employment with a university as an undergraduate student. We want you to be affiliated to a university or a research institution. So because as an undergraduate student in final year, you don't have any affiliation with any university as a staff, you will not be eligible to apply. But that condition is applicable to those who have been employed maybe as assistant lecturer, as lecturer too, but they are still on their PhD program. They have not completed their PhD. We encourage them to apply if they have a very strong proposal. Not having PhD should not knock them off. That is the explanation I was trying to make there. I hope that is clear.
Okay, is this clear for you, Mr. Aliu Isaac? Can you hear me, Mr. Aliu?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. Now we can go ahead and move to Mr. Tushmat Hob. I don't know who is this person. Or Uche Emelike.
Thank you.
Yes.
Tushmat
Yes.
on speaking.
Yes.
Can I speak now?
Sorry, Tushmat. Sorry, it's very, very noisy. I don't know. The noisy comes from which person? But now, the first person is Tushmat. Okay, Tushmat.
Okay.
Now, go ahead.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, professors and members of the AAPS for bringing up this very exciting program. My first question, I think it was answered in the chat, that's regarding the duration for the research. I think he just sent that, Dr. Alagbas and Professor Alagbas, he just sent that in the chat. The second thing I wanted to ask is regarding, you mentioned budgets for, Professor mentioned the budgeting for the research. I just wanted to ask, you see, sometimes the budget could cover the cost for human resource, maybe research assistants on the project or thereabout, where a budget is going to include human resource supports. What would be like the ideal percentage of the overall framework from your experience that would be considered ideal? Then secondly, in a situation where there is already a kind of funding for an ongoing project, but maybe it's just a partial funding or thereabout, and this could subsequently augment, of course, in terms of helping that already ongoing projects come to fruition. Is that allowed in the scheme of things for this grant application? Thank you once again, sirs.
Thank you very much. Yes. Dear Professor,
okay.
No?
I think I can pick that up from the second question, whether you can apply to these grants if you have a partial funding with other projects. Well, as long as the budget you are submitting or the part of the project that you want to use this application to cover is not part of the ongoing project that you have, and as long as you can demonstrate that you are not seeking funding for multiple, you are not seeking multiple funding for the same project or the same component, will not stop you from applying. So you can apply as long as you can justify that the application you are making will cover the project part that is not part of what you have already been funded for. And don't forget that the calls that you have used to get a grant already, they may specify that maybe they don't want their project to be funded by another body. So if that clause is not there, if that restriction is not there, I think you don't have a limitation on that. And as long as the part you are funding with this application it will acknowledge the funder, and it will have a very clear budget and roadmap. Maybe the first question, Professor Osama can answer that. I think the second question relates to my own part.
Yes. Okay, Professor Osama.
Can you please repeat the question? I'm sorry, I did not get it.
Okay, sir. The second question is regarding the budgeting. So I was trying to ask where a research involves some research assistants working on that human resource, and what would be an ideal percentage of the overall grant funding to earmark for research support or research assistant that involves human from your experience, sir?
That's a good question. So it depends on the study, right? Like if you are doing a study that will depend in a lot of manpower to go in the field, collect data from actual humans, then you definitely need to put a good budget for those people that they will go down, contact subjects, get their data. But if you're putting a grant that you will do lab work, for example, or work in the clinic, and those patients already come to you, then maybe the person you need to collect that data is much less time. So it depends on your proposal, and I don't think there is a cutoff that we have to stop at. Epidemiological studies that require a lot of manpower to collect data, definitely you're going to be putting a much larger percentage for those ones.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Okay, now we can move to Dr. Uche Emelike. I'm guessing that Dr. Uche is driving. So I don't know if it is, he can participate, he can ask his question now. Dr. Uche? Dr. Uche Emelike? Can we move on? Maybe I will find Dr. Hamza Ahmed. You are here, Dr. Hamza?
Okay. This question is from my friend. Are the viewers more persuaded by proposals focused on the transitional impact as a clinical applications, or the mechanistic depth as a basic science in their proposals, which is applicated for them?
That's an important question. The review criteria are set by the grant mechanism, right? Like if the grant is saying we want to study whatever, then the review criteria will say what is we consider good. So is it a clinical study? Is it a basic sciences? Right? And then the rating scales go from 0 to 7, or from 1 to 7, where 1 is the best and 7 is the worst. And then we will say this approach, is it good? For how good? And this, timeline, and the investigator himself, and the facility he works on. So there is a sheet for the reviewers that they fill. So the mechanism itself will say, are we focused in mechanisms? Are we focused in clinical? Are we focused in this? I don't have an answer for this specific grant, but I would assume that it is not limited to preclinical work or clinical work, and maybe Dr. Akadiri or Dr. Abdul Latif can correct me.
Okay, concerning whether the proposal should be clinical or preclinical, I think that is the question. Yes. So in this application, we did not restrict applicants to a particular type of application. You as an applicant, you should feel free to design a project that you like. We are not focusing on any area of physiology, cardiovascular, endocrine, neuroscience, gastrointestinal, any area you wish you like. Feel free to submit your proposal based on your idea. And we are not focusing on whether preclinical or clinical studies alone. All proposals submitted will be assessed by our reviewers on their merits. So as long as you are convinced that you have submitted a very good proposal, you wait for the response. We do not have any specification. And sorry, Professor Osama, I just posted something on the group now. Because we are promoting multi-country collaboration, some people like, they have been asking questions, how can I get, I'm a Nigerian, how can I get someone from Kenya, from Rwanda, from Uganda? On AAPS, we have a map on AAPS that documents the list of physiologists across Africa. This is a project we have been doing to promote collaboration in Africa. So when you go to the website of AAPS, go to map, click on map, and you will see the map of Africa. On the map of Africa, click on any country you want. It will bring to you a list of physiologists in that country. So you can network and collaborate with people using the email of the researchers on the map. This is what we have been doing to ensure that we bring physiologists together in Africa. So you don't have any problem of networking again, as long as you can reach people through the email on the AAPS website. That is just to answer a question on collaboration. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Abdulatif. I think that we have almost 10 minutes more to continue this session. So I can give the floor to Saifullah, Dr. Saifullah Aminu. You can go ahead.
Inshallah, good day, everyone. My name is Saifullah Aminu, and I'm undergraduate student. My question now is, how can I register to be part of this AAPS? Thank you.
Can you come again with your question? How can you what?
Yes.
My question is, how can I be part of this? How can I be part of AAPS? Like, how can I register?
Okay.
Thank you. AAPS has two types of membership. One, as an individual member. Two, as a member of an affiliate society. When you are from countries that have national society or regional society, you cannot have individual membership. Like if you are in the East Africa countries like Kenya, Rwanda, Uganda, Tanzania, Ethiopia, you can't have individual membership. You must be a member of the East African Society of Physiological Sciences. If you are from Nigeria, you cannot have individual membership of AAPS. You must be a member of PSN. If you are from Egypt, you must be a member of Egyptian Physiological Society. If you are from Sudan, you must be a member of the Sudanese Society. I'm just giving examples. But for countries that do not have national or regional societies, then AAPS can give you individual membership. So you can send email to AAPS. I will drop the email of AAPS in the chat box. If you want to have membership, send email to that email, then you will be replied accordingly. I think that solves that problem. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Abdulatif. So now I think that Dr. Uche Emilike, I don't know if he wants to ask his question or he is already satisfied. So we can go ahead.
Yes, I want to ask now.
Okay, if you are ready, you can go ahead now.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for this wonderful exposure. Please, my little question is to the Secretary General. I developed a PhD in 2018, October. So by October this year will be my 7th year as a PhD holder. I wanted to know, since the advert is ending by September, am I eligible to apply?
You are eligible since you are not 7 years post-PhD yet. Since you are not already, you are not yet 7 years post-PhD, you can apply. Since the advert, the application will be in September. Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you to my child. How are you, my child? Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. But now, I don't have any question, another question from the chat. So can I ask one question to Professor Osama? So Professor Osama, can I go ahead on this question? To write a good proposal, do we need preliminary data? do we need first to get preliminary data from our own before write a good proposal? That is my question. Thank you.
Thank you. For big grants, we always have to have preliminary data. And for small grants, if we have preliminary data, will be an advantage. If we don't, then it shouldn't be a problem. Preliminary data is just the little data that we collected in the same idea that we want to study. And it's always welcomed, but it's not required for small grants.
But can you define well what are the preliminary data?
Right.
Please.
Like if I want to say I want to study the rate of depression or the rate of cardiovascular disease among COVID patients. And then my preliminary data will say that I surveyed my patients, 100 patients, I found that 10 of them have it. But that's not actually the study that I want to do, because the study needs to be much larger than that. So just the same proposal that I do, the same study, but in a much smaller scale to show that I am able to do this, feasible. Like I am proposing to do a mechanistic study for diabetes in certain population. Then I say I examined that in 4 patients and they found this. But my proposal will be to examine another 100. So just a small number rather than the actual big, that's our preliminary data.
Thank you very much for the clear response and answer. Thank you very much. Now we just have time to get one more question from Dr. Ruth Mungay. Can go ahead. Dr. Ruth, welcome.
Yes, thank you so much. My question is just a follow-up question from what Professor Abdulatif has just explained about the collaboration. And I wanted to ask whether is there a way of finding out what kind of studies people are doing, so that then if we have a similar thing that we are doing, then we can come together and collaborate. It doesn't have to be the main proposal, but maybe just a topic, an area of interest that someone is preparing to submit, so that then we don't find that we are submitting the same thing and we could have collaborated. So is there, even if we can, a way of making it easier so that then you know who to approach, depending on what you want to submit?
On the AAPS website, the map there contains the list of researchers in Africa that are physiologists, their country, their qualification, their institution, the instrument they have in their lab, their academic rank, their field of research, the type of research they do, and every information. It is a robust database that we have built over the years. So we plan to ensure that we continue updating this database, but for the purpose of this application, if you visit that map, you can even find the area of specialty, the kind of studies they are doing, their rank and everything. And for any information that is not available, their email also is there. You can email them to continue your discussion. So, but for the purpose of this application, we cannot tell you this is the application someone has made. We can't disclose an application of someone to you. But if you are looking for a collaborator, you can use the website to pick the information and engage them further on your interests. I think that is the answer for that.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Abdulatif. Dear President, can we get one question more, because the time is over now, and I see that one person, one person just, Dr. Hilary Kweza. Dr. Hilary?
Yes.
Okay, you can go ahead.
Good afternoon.
Okay, good afternoon. It will be the last question for today. I just want to remind that we have another webinar session on the date. Let me guess the date, on the 5th of September, 6th of September, inshallah. at 9 p.m. 9 Greenwich Meridian time, UTC time. So we can, if you have another question, we can ask question by this. We can have this opportunity to ask our question. So Dr. Hillary can go ahead now. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My question is for Sir Osama. It's about the part where you talked about the 2 aim grind and the 1 aim grind. I did not catch the thing right there because I was asking myself, can a proposal has 2 aim, or it was a misunderstanding I was having there?
Right. Thank you for the question. So there are grants, as I mentioned, that are big grants, right? So we have a 5-year grant that is studying the mechanism of post-COVID cognitive impairment or aging. And in that grant, our first aim that we will do an animal model. And in that animal model, we will be studying the mechanism. Then in aim 2, we will be proposing a treatment. So now you have 2 aims for a big grant. The problem here that the treatment cannot be based on the mechanism that we don't know, right? So if we will say we will study the mechanism, and if we find that the problem is in the mitochondrial bioenergetics, and then in aim 2, we say we're going to use this treatment to reverse it. But what if the results for aim 1 did not come correct and it's not mitochondrial bioenergetics? Then how are you going to do aim 2? So that was the point that I was trying to make, that we don't, in the large big grants that have 2 aims or more, that we base one aim on the other. That does not fly.
Okay, so if I understand correctly, for example, I'm currently undergoing a master in physiology in Benin, and for this kind of grant, should we go for the 1 aim type of proposal, or can we be ambitious and go to a 2 aim type of proposal?
Given the limited budget, I would assume that the 1 aim probably will be more appropriate. Okay. But I don't think the 2 aim will be looked at down if it's doable.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Professor Osama. Very, very great pleasure for us to hear you and to learn a lot from you, because it seems that you have a long story and strong experience in how to write a winning proposal. So thank you very much to everybody. Just, I don't know if the Secretary General has one word to say before we give the floor to the President. Thank you very much. Professor
Okay,
Abulseod?
thank you.
Yes.
Just a final reminder that the grant is not meant to be a travel grant to attend conference. It is not meant to be a travel grant to attend workshop. It is not for administrative purpose. It is a kind of small grant that should address a research problem of African interest. So we welcome application, and we also hope to remind you that there are 2 stages of review for the grant. So first of all, the AAPS as a body will review the grant to see whether it conforms with the eligibility criteria that we have set. And it is only the eligible proposals that will be sent to external reviewers. So take your time, as the deadline is September 30, to write your proposal and submit it before deadline. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Abdulateef. Just a time to remind to all of us that we have a second webinar on the 6th of September. So you can have opportunity also to ask your question. So I give the floor to the President to conclude this session. Thank you very much. Dear President, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Akadiri, for managing this session in a very nice way. Thank you very much, Prof. Osama, for accepting our invitation despite your very busy schedule that I am well aware of. Actually, I know Prof. Osama since some time, and I know how busy he is. But despite that, he keeps responding to our requests positively, and we thank him very much for that. Thanks also. Thank you. Thanks also to our handy Secretary General for responding to all questions, verbal or written or so. He's very, I mean, he can pick up things in many areas and respond here and there, and he's very good at that, actually. I would like to, after thanks, I would like to say some remarks. Actually, it's very important when you write your grant to be coherent, meaning that since you start with the question, the study question, the methods should be very consistent to the study question. The budget should be tailored to the methods, and the collaborators, if any, should have experience in the same area. I mean, everything should be coherent together. And when you look for collaborators, there are many methods to look for collaborators. One method is mentioned by our Secretary General. The other method is to look at the literature. This is the method used. And to look at people studying the same thing in Africa, in countries around you or so, and to email them. Their emails actually can be, I think, easily obtained from their publications or from the internet or through their institutes and so on, or through our website. This is, or you can actually send an email to Mrs. Nahla Mustafa, our secretary, and she can help link you with the somebody from the society of this country who can put you with the person that you want to see. The people who have asked about the ongoing study or the multiple aims, actually you can have a study, but part of the study, the part in the future that is not yet done, you can apply for fund for this part and say that I have done that, and I intend to do that, and the other part is not funded, and probably I may not be able to do it without funds. I think this will make a good case of your proposal. The conditions of having the PhD within 7 years, actually this was the request of the IAPS, and they even wanted to be 5 years, and we have extended it to 7 years, and we have added the people with the PhD, studying the PhD. So we wanted to increase the scope a little bit so that more people can apply. So they are the funders. They have their requirements and guidelines, and we are the managing body, and we can just discuss with them and try to modify their conditions, and that's what we did. People, as I said in my opening, we hope that this will be the foundation and the first step for future grants either from the IAPS or from other donors. We see this as a top strategic priority, actually, of our AAPS Council, and we'll try to do it. And with your help and with the help of my colleagues in the AAPS Council, we hope to be able to secure some grants on a yearly basis, probably or so. And one other secondary aim for these grants is not just to secure some money for few people. It is to create a situation where people become aware of how grants can be sought, how grants can be written, how collaboration can be initiated, and so on. So probably people who are not eligible for this grant, or people who will submit proposals for this grant and might not be that lucky, they will add some experience that will help them to look for other grants, either with the help of the AAPS or with the help of other organizations, or with their own work or their own work. So it's the wider aim actually is to help the African physiologists realize that there will be opportunities for funding their research, because here in Africa, unlike in developing countries, in developed countries, we rely mostly on our own money to do the research, and this should not be the case actually, because the research is very expensive, and there are opportunities actually for us to try to look for to support our research. So with that, I thank you all for attending, and I wish you all the best of luck in your research and in your career. Prof. Akadiri, thank you very much. See you in the next webinar on 6th of September, inshallah.
Hello.
Thank you, everyone. It's been great being with you, and we'll look forward to hearing good news about grant winners. Good luck to everyone.
Hello.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello.
Okay.
Good afternoon, dear Osama. For the sake of clarity in the explanation, as well as those of the other speaker, my question is it possible?
Dr. Saliu, we have closed the session. Can you send your question to Nahla, to the AAPS, to the email, and we'll see if it is directed to Dr. Osama. We'll get you the answer of Dr. Osama. If it is directed to Prof. Abdulatif, Dr. Abdulatif will respond to you. So because we have reached now the end of the session, we don't want to keep the people and keep Dr. Osama for a long time. Thank you very much.
Okay, it is no problem.
Okay. Until the 6th of September, inshallah, we'll see you again.
Inshallah.
Bye-bye.